In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.
Sometimes online there's really silly things that people do, and then there's fun things like this. I don't know if this one works or not. It's going around TikTok called the Hanger Challenge. What you do is you take a coat hanger, kind of wedge your head in it so that the hooks point to one side.
So the dumb thing you would do when you were a child with the plastic hanger?
So then you close your eyes, and allegedly your head will involuntarily start turning. I don't know. I tried it this morning.
And?
I tried it with a hat and without a hat. With a hat, nothing. Without a hat, nothing, and it just left marks on my head.
Well, apparently there is some science behind this. It's a real thing called hanger reflex, and it was first documented back in 1991, probably when plastic hangers started to become popular and people were putting them on their head for fun. So a study in 2015 actually tried it on 120 people. 96% of them, for some reason, when they would put it on, their head would turn away from the hook. And they still don't know why exactly it happens, but it's not just about seeing the hook in your peripheral vision. In another study, researchers built a ridiculous-looking hat to test different pressure points, and they were able to recreate the hanger reflex with it.
So maybe I should try it again without a hat, because maybe the hat isn't pressing the pressure
It's not
points.
hitting the pressure point.
I'll have to get you to try it, too. See if it actually works. Maybe you've got hair.
Do you want me to try it right
better.
now?
Maybe it'll work better for you, because you've got hair.
Now, am I supposed to put the little hook a different specific way?
Well, just across your head, right?
No, but like this way or...
It doesn't really matter, apparently. Whatever way. Now you got to close your eyes.
Oh, my gosh. No, I have no control over this. My head is literally turning to the right. I'm turning towards the hook, though.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things.
What the heck? Mm-hmm. That's weird. Like, it's like a pressure point on the side of my head. Now I have a mark on my head, probably.
Yeah, that's what it was doing to me. So maybe I'll try it again then without the hat and see if it works.
Maybe your head's just too small, not enough pressure.
Or it's too big. One or the other. You know, in life, sometimes when it comes to the cell phone age, we're looking down, or we're taking pictures, or we're taking video. We don't seem to enjoy the moment, and for this guy, enjoying the moment has led to some pretty cool things.
So this past weekend was the PGA Championship that took place in, I believe it was Tulsa, Oklahoma, and someone snapped a picture of Tiger Woods' second shot on the first hole. And the shot went viral because you can see, there's a massive crowd following behind him, watching him take the shot. Everyone in the photo has their cell phone up to take either a picture or a video, except for one guy.
Yeah, he was standing there holding a can of Mickelob Ultra. Every other person either looking down at their phone or looking up to take a photo or a video.
But this one guy just standing there and taking the moment in, watching it while enjoying his Mickelob Ultra beer. Well, apparently, people loved this. That's why it went viral. And the bigwigs at Mickelob Ultra also loved it. They started calling this guy the Mickelob Guy, and they have given him his own endorsement deal.
Never in my wildest dreams did I think standing there watching Tiger Woods hit a shot and me holding a beer that it would turn into this. They're promising me, as they said, copious amounts of beer and merchandise, and the potential to go to other PGA events. So I am waiting. So we'll see what happens.
So all their bigwigs thought it was just such a cool thing. They even actually started selling merch with his photo on it, and they thought it worked well with the slogan they've been using for a while. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. That's actually perfect. Mm-hmm. There's even talk of a commemorative beer can for him, too.
So Mickelob Guy, his actual name is Mark. He's a certified public accountant from Kansas City. And it sounds like he's not even in it for the money, as you said. He's in it for the copious amounts of beer and, getting to attend more PGA events for free.
Good for him. By the way, the beer he was holding cost $18 for that one can of beer. You go to a sporting event now, it's almost like you need to sell a kidney or take out a second mortgage to buy a pretzel and a hot dog and a cold one these days. They are so expensive. But good for him. What a neat thing. Just for living in the moment, what that's turned into it for him. Over the years, it's easy to look back with, a little bit of hindsight or rose-colored glasses on the past.
Like if I had bought Apple stock in the 80s.
Right? Or anything along those lines. But there have been some big business decisions that have been made over the years that I'm sure some of these companies regretted later.
Yeah, like Decca Records well known for declining to sign the Beatles. Apparently, they passed on signing the Fab Four in 1962 because they said, quote, guitar groups were on their way out.
I mean, they weren't the only ones, but they were the ones that really made that statement. I know Darius Rucker in the country world, every label in Nashville turned him down but one. And how many number one songs has he had since? How about Microsoft for sale in 79? The CEO for Electronic Data Systems, Ross Perot, was tempted with an offer to buy the company for $60 million US. He declined, saying the company and its 23-year-old founder, Bill Gates, had yet to reach for their full potential. Today, the company's worth $2 trillion.
And now you just wish, would you go back in time and maybe not buy it, but
Even
maybe invested with them a bit? Hey, how about this one? Back in 1973, 20th Century Fox allowed George Lucas to lower his fee for directing Star Wars. And in return, they gave him all the merchandising rights and the rights to any sequels. Well, the movie series has made billions for 20th Century Fox. The merchandise sales have made billions more. And so essentially, George Lucas traded $350,000 for now more than $5 billion and counting.
So he just had a feeling that this was going to take off, maybe.
Well, and I think you've seen how he's really been able to merchandise the franchise. I mean, how much Baby Yoda stuff do you see out now?
Playing the long game. How about rejecting Harry Potter? No less than 12 publishing houses rejected J.K. Rowling's novel and Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone before it was finally accepted by Bloomsbury. And even then, only 500 copies were originally issued.
Wow.
They weren't confident, and then boom. They were like, yeah, we believed in her right from the start.
Uh-huh. So sure you did. How about this? You remember when digital photography was just starting to really take off? It was actually a Kodak invention, but the company didn't want to invest in the digital research and development of digital, photography. Instead, they were like, no, we're going to focus on film instead. Kodak had to file for bankruptcy in 2012.
E.T. fails to land on Mars. When Steven Spielberg was delivering his blockbuster 1982 film, the director approached the makers of Mars bars and asked if they could use their candy in a scene, where he munches on some treats.
Yep.
Mars said no. Hershey came to the rescue with Reese's Pieces. E.T. loved them, and the sales jumped over 65%.
Really launched Reese's Pieces onto the map there.
Yeah, they could have made so much more money.
And finally, could you imagine a network passing on Monday Night Football now? Well, that's exactly what happened back in the 60s. Both NBC and CBS passed on broadcasting the Monday Night Football games. ABC closed the deal, and so from 1970 until 2005, they aired the weekly game before moving it to, their brother network, ESPN. And, football ratings are continually always one of the top rated, even if it's terrible teams. Monday Night Football still draws in some of the most, viewers each week.
We've got a big bee story for you.
Yes, bees are, very important for the environment, but doesn't mean that they respect human transportation. A team of bee removal experts actually had to be called into the airport in New Orleans as there was more than 15,000 swarming bees that had taken up residence on a piece of equipment. I guess they decided, this is our home now, and moved in. The one guy said that they took over this piece of equipment used for loading and unloading luggage, so probably one of those conveyor belts. So, as long as you get the queen out, it seems, then the rest will follow, but
it sounds like they did.
Yeah.
Safely removed.
But you had to call in bee removal experts to get them out of there.
Authorities in Georgia warning the public to be on the lookout for two types of monkeys on the loose that are running around right now. They said, quote, it sounded like a scene from Jumanji, but it was not. There are, in fact, two Patas monkeys on the loose in this county. Now, the monkeys are legally owned by a resident and got loose. Sheriff's office telling people, don't approach them because you might freak them out.
Don't try to capture them. Could just, call police.
Let them deal with it.
Send in the professionals to do it. Hey, how about this over in Edmonton? Firefighters were recently called out because a resident 6-foot snake escaped and climbed up a tree. Went up about 15 feet. And apparently the snake named Whiskey didn't want to come back down. Or I don't know if he got up that high and then freaked himself out.
He's like, how do I get down now? I regret this decision.
So they used a ladder to reach the snake and were able to bring him safely back down to the ground.
A woman by the name of Nicole, she lives in Ottawa, heard a big racket from the crows in the backyard on Saturday morning. and looking out into the pool, she saw something unusual. A coyote swimming in her pool.
What?
She said she was getting some water to make her coffee on her barbecue because her power was still out from the storm. And she heard all the birds squawking. And she said, I thought I was going to have to add drowned coyote of my things to have to deal with. She wrote that on a Facebook page that her neighborhood has. She said that he eventually got out safely. She said it might have been the wrong reaction, but she said she wanted to help him get out because, she was looking around to find something to maybe guide him to the stairs or find a way for him to get out of the pool.
Or maybe she didn't have the stairs in yet. Maybe she hadn't finished opening the pool. So,
yeah, she said between the power outage and the storm and then a visit from a coyote, she had this craziest week since she'd moved there. And that is good news. She didn't have to deal with that. The coyote did find his way out.
Now, all this morning, we've been talking about snakes after former Chatham King councillor Bill Weaver shared a picture of a huge fox snake, apparently, that he found after cutting the grass in his yard. He shared a photo of that. We've posted it now up on our Facebook page, because it seems like a lot of people have been seeing snakes this year.
Yeah, we were asking for text messages, just to let us know if you've been seeing a lot or, attach some photos, and people have been attaching photos and freaking you out. One lady found a nest in her backyard of all of these snakes.
Well, it was like a breeding pile. And I just say no to that.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Candy said they were cleaning at her mom's place, and when they lifted up the storage bed, lifted up to look underneath, there was a snake under there hanging out with the Christmas wrapping paper.
In the house.
In the house.
Mike texted us and said, I saw a 3-foot fox snake just outside of Tilbury yesterday morning crossing the road. Someone else saying that when they were growing up, they used to see them all the time, and her dad freaked her out by taking one when she didn't know, and she was outside and she was a kid, and he put it on her shoulders.
Like a dead one?
No, it's not. I don't know.
Or live? Either way, still a no.
It is apparently an endangered species. I mean, I've lived here 13 years. I have never seen one. Have you?
A fox snake? I don't know. I don't pay attention to the snakes when I see them. I usually scream and run the other way.
I mean, they're huge. Honestly, when I saw Bill Weaver's photo at first, which we posted on our Facebook page with his permission, I thought it was fake. I thought, did he put a rubber snake in the field and he's trying to freak people out? Because it looks massive. In that photo, at least. I thought, is it a python?
Yeah. Well, and I understand, snakes, they do have a purpose. They're great at controlling the rodent population, but you stay over there and I'll stay in my area and we're good to go. I don't want you in near me.
And now it's time for...
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's random.
Is that a fact?
Is that a fact?
4 random facts.
India has the lowest meat consumption in the world by capita. They only consume 7 pounds of meat per person per year. Now, on the flip side of that, Australians take first place. They wolf down about 200 pounds per person per year. The U.S., a very close second.
Yeah, big vegetarian diet over in India.
And I would bet the U.S. is gaining ground this weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. So there'll be a lot of hot dogs.
A lot of barbecues.
Consumed.
Hey, do you know that Winston Churchill was actually voted out of office as the Prime Minister of England just 2 months after he beat the Nazis? Another guy beat him in a landslide. Apparently voters thought a different party would be better during peacetime.
Morgan Freeman has 142 acting credits and has been nominated for 148 acting awards. He's won 65 times, lost 83. So he's still won quite a few, though. He's done well.
Well, I'm thinking it was baseball. Yeah, you still have a very good batting average. And finally, did you know that potato chips are flammable? They actually make really good kindling. So next time you're having a bonfire, throw some potato chips in. Apparently, if they're powdered with seasoning, even better, even more flammable.
So, fun fact, I remembered this fact, and we had a bonfire not long ago, and someone was eating Doritos. Threw some in, and yes, I amazed the friends and family around the campfire.
Although that seems like a waste of perfectly good Doritos.
They sure went up, though. Just be careful with them around a flame. There's your 4 random facts.
Today's
1, 2, 3, 4.
4
Facts. So random.
Random.
Give the public the facts.
4 random facts.
So the story we're about to tell you, why do I feel like this is something Miranda Lambert would absolutely do?
Oh, totally. She has no fear when it comes to animals, and neither does this woman named Sarah Fulton. She was standing outside of a bar in Brooklyn last Thursday when a possum ran into the bar. And
a possum.
A possum. And, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of possums. I like, they're fine. They're great with, getting ticks or whatever. But if one ran into a bar I was in, I'd be like, what is happening? And people had the same reaction. They freaked out.
Well, it's in Brooklyn, New York. They're probably not used to seeing possums or too much wildlife.
Well, Sarah thankfully knew what to do because she's originally from Alaska. So as everyone panicked, she just walked into the bar, found it under the table, grabbed it by the scruff of the neck, and then casually walked it outside.
The door was open, and then all of a sudden we see this critter run in. I think it was just like instinctual. I just like went up to him and I was just like, hey, I know you're afraid. I'm just going to grab you, scruff you, and take you out because I feel like that would be the least painful for you.
And of course, because it is 2022, it was captured on video. She said she didn't think twice because she grew up with a moose in her backyard. She, didn't think about it, the fact that she's not in Alaska anymore. So she was kind of surprised how impressed everyone was by it.
I think she forgets you're not in the wilderness. You're in Brooklyn. People don't know how to react to rats there. Well, within minutes, people started calling her a hero, though. And needless to say, she didn't have to buy a drink the rest of the night.
I wonder how many people in that bar actually thought it was a rat at first. Because it does sort of look like it could be one of these ones that, has been in the sewer maybe a bit too long. Well, she was able to take care of that possum and released it back into the wilds of New York.
Yum. Science. It's not rocket science.
Check it out. I blinded us with science.
Well, this first story could be a game changer for the world.
A team of U.S. doctors apparently just injected the first ever human patient with a new cancer-killing virus. In animal trials, this drug was found to actually shrink colon, lung, breast, ovarian, and pancreatic cancer tumors.
Wow.
One of the team members, an oncologist, said that these types of viruses can stimulate the immune system to respond to and kill cancer, as well as stimulate the immune system to be more responsive to other immunotherapies. So it's sort of like double action. Clinical trials should be complete by early 2025.
That would be amazing. Hey, a girl who's been without sight for most of her life amazed doctors after she regained her sight and, quote, cured herself of what's usually a lifelong brain condition. So her name is Evie May, and she was registered blind at just a few months old when her head started to swell after a few months later. Well, doctors discovered she had hydrocephalus, built up a fluid in the brain. Now, the pressure inside her had 32 times the normal level. Doctors warned her family that they could help relieve the pain and buildup, but that damage was done and that her sight was gone forever and she'd likely never learn to walk and talk. Well, against all odds, not only did her sight return when she was a toddler, Evie May learned to walk and talk, and her hydrocephalus disappeared last year. She's now a thriving 7-year-old, lives without shunts, is top of the class, and can see perfectly without glasses.
So was it like as she got older, her body was just like, hey, let's stop doing that. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure the doctors will want to do further studies to try and figure this out, because that's a miracle.
I wonder if it's like something that she grew out of.
Amazing.
That's crazy. Hey, in space news, the Mars InSight lander that touched down on Mars in 2018 just sent back what is probably its final selfie. And it's because the solar panels are covered in dust, so the batteries are unable to charge anymore.
I guess there's no way to send them up with like little fans or anything to blow some of that off.
Maybe they thought that the wind, maybe where it landed, it gets covered in dust, but it doesn't blow off.
Well, Mars is pretty dusty.
Yeah. Also, there might be a crazy meteor shower today, or it could be a total bust. A shattered comet is passing by, so we could go right through the bulk of it, and if we do, they say we could get up to 1,000 shooting stars an hour, but if we don't go through it, we'll get nothing.
And finally, we learned a new term. An underwater volcano in the Pacific Ocean erupted this month and superheated the water. So it's superheated this water, but it's surrounded by sharks that have evolved to survive in it anyway. So now it's known as Sharkcano.
You know they're going to turn this into a new Sharknado movie.
They must.
They have to. It's built right into it. Sharkcano?
Volcanoes and sharks together as one?
And they're like superhuman because they've evolved to survive in this like hot water?
Superheat hot water, yes. It just writes itself, doesn't it? That's
someone call Ian Ziering.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.